Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something a little bit different, maybe even a bit meta, you could say.
Hmm.
We're diving into just one source, which might seem, well, pretty straightforward on the surface.
Right.
It's Step Up to IELTS, Self-Study Student's Book by Vanessa Jakeman and Claire McDowell from Cambridge.
Hmm.
Now, IELTS, for anyone who doesn't know, it's the International English Language Testing System. Big English test.
Yep. Widely used.
But here's the mission for us today.
Yeah.
What can we really pull out of what looks like, just a language textbook? What's hidden in there?
Exactly. And that's the interesting part. Our goal, really, is to show you that this isn't just about prepping for an English test.
Right.
It's actually a fantastic opportunity to see how these really carefully structured learning materials can unlock a whole range of general knowledge and even help you hone your analytical skills. We want to show how a book like this, which seems so focused, can actually be a kind of shortcut to being, well, pretty well informed.
A shortcut. I like that.
Yeah, across a surprising number of topics, almost without you realizing you're doing it.
Okay, so how does that work? How does a test prep book become this intellectual powerhouse you're describing?
Well, when you first open it, Step Up to IELTS,
Mm-hmm.
you see right away it's pretty comprehensive.
Okay.
It's built around the main skills, listening, reading, writing, speaking.
Core 4.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then it weaves in specific sections on language and grammar too.
Yeah.
And it really is set up for self-study. It gives you a very clear path.
Structured path.
A very structured path, yeah. What's really fascinating, I think, is how it's all organized. There are 16 units in the book.
16. Okay.
Yeah, and each one is built around a specific kind of real-world topic, like take a break or value for money.
Ah, okay. So thematic.
Totally thematic. It's not just a jumble of exercises. It's this holistic way of learning the language.
Right. Not just grammar rule number 5.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it naturally pushes you towards a broader understanding of things, not just the isolated rules.
Right.
It's like a knowledge map hidden inside a language book.
That's a great way to put it. And speaking of engaging topics, the listening and speaking parts, they have some surprisingly practical stuff, don't they?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It makes the learning feel very relevant.
Yeah, I noticed there's a bit about practicing for a lost luggage claim.
Yes, exactly.
Suddenly pulling out numbers isn't just an exercise, it's potentially saving your holiday.
It's a real skill.
Yeah.
And that unit starts with describing different kinds of luggage materials,
Mhm.
and then it shifts to that lost luggage scenario where you have to listen for specific details, flight numbers, bag dimensions, that kind of thing.
Practical.
Very. And then there's another unit all about talking about weather, your preferences, understanding forecasts,
Stuff you actually talk about.
everyday stuff, absolutely. But essential for just, functioning in the real world.
And the speaking sections seem just as grounded. I saw one bit that gives you a framework for introducing yourself, talking about hobbies. Basic, but crucial.
Fundamental, yeah. And then it pushes you further. There are prompts about discussing sea travel or marine life or even living on an island.
Oh, interesting. Forces you to be more descriptive.
Exactly. Uses richer language.
Yeah.
And there's even a part, I think it's Unit 8, about discussing past accidents or health issues,
Wow. Okay.
which gives you the vocabulary, but also maybe a bit more confidence to handle those, more serious conversations if they come up.
Yeah, that's definitely beyond just test prep. It's about navigating life, isn't it?
It really is. And this, I think, raises a key point for you listening. What's the real value here beyond just the language practice? It's not just about catching keywords or, rattling off a practiced answer.
Right.
It's about understanding the context, the nuances, and then being able to express your own experiences effectively. These are skills that, honestly, they matter whatever language you're speaking. They build real confidence.
That makes sense.
Now, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the reading passages in this book, this is where it gets really interesting in terms of general knowledge.
Okay.
This is where it truly shines, I think, exposing you to just an incredible breadth of factual stuff. It turns language practice into a serious knowledge upgrade.
Okay, now I'm intrigued. Because this is where it got really surprising for me when I looked through it.
Yeah. What stood out?
Well, that unit, what's on the menu, it has this food trivia section.
Ah, yes.
Did you know brown eggs and white eggs are basically the same nutritionally? The color's just the hen breed.
I think I might have heard that, but yeah, it's surprising to see it there.
Right. Or that beef has vitamin C. A tiny amount, but still.
Yeah.
Who expects dietary facts in an IELTS book?
It catches you off guard. And then that same unit goes into, like, the science of food flavors and aromas.
Yeah, from trivia to science.
And it just keeps going like that. There's another unit, all at sea.
Okay.
Doesn't just talk about boats. It gets into global geography, mountains, oceans, sea ice.
Wow.
And then right after that, it jumps into the history and the tech behind lighthouses.
Lighthouses, seriously.
Seriously. From ancient fires to modern automatic ones, you're suddenly learning about engineering and history while you're practicing reading skills.
That is unexpected. And you mentioned value for money.
Oh, yeah. That one's great.
Yeah.
An entire unit basically giving you a historical and economic overview of paper money.
No way.
Yeah. Its origins, how it gets its value, pictures of different currencies from around the world. It's like a mini economics lesson.
Tucked away in language practice. That's clever.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And then there's another unit, Ignorance is Bliss, I think it's called.
Okay.
It has super practical stuff, like actual instructions for international students about refunds and fees.
Genuinely useful information.
Totally. And another passage analyzing the pros and cons of studying in the USA for international students. Really direct, actionable stuff.
Okay.
And one more, Fit as a Fiddle. That one tackles global health issues. Facts about major diseases, malaria, TB, HIV. And it talks about the role of organizations like the Red Cross. You're getting a snapshot of really important global challenges.
Wow. Okay, these reading topics are genuinely diverse. They really do give you those aha moments.
Exactly.
It shows how this kind of quote-unquote academic material can be properly educational, but also, yeah, genuinely surprising. You're not just learning English.
You're learning about the world. It's history, it's science, it's problems.
Yeah. Okay, so let's touch on the writing and grammar then. How do they fit into this bigger picture?
Well, they're essentially giving you the toolkit.
The toolkit.
Yeah, the tools to organize all that information you're absorbing, organize your own thoughts, and express them clearly. And that skill, clarity, that's valuable way beyond any exam.
For sure. Emails, reports, anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
So, for example, one unit gives really clear guidelines on writing formal versus informal letters, focusing on purpose, tone.
Okay.
Very. Then another section walks you through describing a process or a diagram. It uses an electronic tracking device as the example.
Explaining how things work.
Precisely. And it continues with that structured approach. You get practice analyzing and describing charts and graphs.
Data visualization stuff.
Yeah, like water usage in Australia or the shape of a continental slope on a map. You learn to look at data and translate it into clear writing.
That's a tough skill.
It is. And there are units guiding you on comparing data, like climate data, between Brisbane and Melbourne, identifying trends, and others focus specifically on describing trends over time using examples like spending habits. It's all about developing that precision.
And the grammar, is it just separate drills?
No, that's the clever part. It's woven right in.
Integrated.
Completely. So you're not just memorizing rules in a vacuum. You're applying them right there in the context of these topics.
Okay, like how?
Well, you learn comparatives and superlatives when you're actually, comparing cities or data points.
Makes sense.
Past tenses and used to come up when you're discussing history or past events. Conditionals pop up when talking about possibilities or hypothetical situations.
Yet it sticks better.
Exactly. And there's even, I think, Unit 11 has a specific focus on adverbs, showing you how they add detail and nuance to your descriptions. It's all connected, all reinforcing each other.
Right. So what's the bottom line here? What does this mean for you, the listener, taking all this in?
I think it means developing that precision, that clarity you need to handle complex information. Not just understand it, but convey it effectively.
Whether it's an email
or a detailed report or an analysis, yeah. And because the grammar is part of the process, understanding how to write becomes as important as what you're writing about.
Okay.
It fosters these really well-rounded communication skills. Skills you could use anywhere, in any field.
So there we have it. We started out looking at what seemed like just a language prep book, Step Up to IELTS. And we've actually uncovered this treasure trove of information, practical skills, stuff that goes way beyond just passing an English test.
Absolutely.
It really is a gateway, isn't it, to being more informed about, everything from geography and economics to global health and just how to communicate better.
It really is. And I think this book, Step Up to IELTS, it demonstrates something important, that mastering a language or maybe any complex skill, really it isn't just about, rote learning or endless drills.
Right. There's more to it.
There is. It's fundamentally about engaging with real, diverse information. understanding the context around it, and building those critical thinking skills you need to analyze things and then talk about them clearly.
Okay, so we've seen how this one language textbook can be this kind of unexpected knowledge hub.
Yeah.
So here's maybe a final thought for you to consider. How could applying this kind of structured approach, breaking information down, spotting the key details, looking at how things connect, practicing how to explain it clearly, could that be your strategy for getting deeply informed about any subject you want to tackle?
That's a great question.
Imagine using that structure to turn all the information overload out there into just pure intellectual curiosity. Something to think about.
Thank you for listening. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to be notified about new videos.